Big Drive Energy in the house. I'm here in Denver, Colorado, Studio B, because some guy named Joe Sakic and Peter Forsberg took the other studio. I can't believe they fucking kicked us out of a studio, but we're out here. Big Drive Energy. This week we are going to talk about Erik van Rooyen's Rooyen. Is that right? Did I butcher that?
Yeah, no, I think if you throw like accent on there, I think he's Swedish or
No, he's South African, bro.
Oh shit. Are you sure?
I'm positive.
Oh wow, okay.
Positive. But we're going to talk about Erik van Rooyen's pretty impressive dub down in Cabo. What a great spot to have a golf tournament. Like if you're one of those mid-level tour guys and you just get to go play in Cabo. We're going to talk about, there was some more announcement of the TGL teams. The 6 teams have been formed, and we kind of have an idea of who's going to be on each team with Jon Rahm pulling out. Always a good idea to pull out. We're also going to...
He is a dad, though.
What's that?
He is a dad, so I wouldn't say he's great at pulling out, but...
We're also going to talk about Kirkland Signature golf clubs, maybe hitting the stores. We're going to talk not only about Erik van Rooyen's win, but mustaches in general. Mitchell really got into character for this one. Make sure you're checking us out on the YouTube. Big Drive Energy. We're also going to talk about stadium links. Mitchell went and hit some golf balls at Citi Field in Flushing, New York, where the Mets try to play baseball. And then a 31-year-old tour record was broken this weekend, so something we've never seen in either of our lifetimes. And, of course, this is all brought to you guys by our great friends over at Pins and Aces. They are doing a crazy Black Friday sale right now. I just got myself some new pullovers. I'm rocking the sweater right now. It's just a super comfortable sweater. It's not like in your face. Like you would never really know it's Pins and Aces. They've got the embossed logo on the front. But super nice to put over a golf shirt. They've got a whole new release of hats, the fall collection. And they're constantly doing stuff on their new app. So make sure to check out their app, download that in the App Store. But you can use our code all the time for 15% off, and that's promo code BDE. But right now, I believe they're doing like 20% off everything, or they're having sales. Make sure you follow them on Instagram too, at Pins and Aces. They're constantly going live, throwing a bunch of stuff in. Nick stole our Zin idea. He always puts Zin in before every live video that he does, and that's kind of our thing, but you know, it's fine. We'll let Nick own that. But check out pinsandaces.com. All the new stuff. Get yourself some stuff for Christmas, or get your family some Pins and Aces for Christmas. New golf bags are absolute gas. Mitchell has one. I do not yet, but I'm looking to get myself a new golf bag for Christmas, so I might be heading over to Pins and Aces and snagging one of their new. What is it? What is the official term of it?
It's called the player preferred golf bag.
Yeah, it's like a legit golf bag. It's not like hey, Pins and Aces decided to make a golf bag with their branding on it. It's like, this is a really good golf bag that just happens to be Pins and Aces.
Yeah, it's got like that kind of almost suede leather material. Super nice. It's got the furry, like the fur on the inside of this arm or the shoulder straps, so it's super comfortable. It's got a huge water pouch, which is awesome. Like you can fit like a 30-ounce bottle of water in there, so you can take your cute little Starbucks cup and slide it in your golf bag, or your Stanley Cup. I know you're into those too, so whatever you want to fit in there, you can. And then it also, very cool little deal is it has, you know, the handle on the back of the bag, obviously where you pick it up. There's a magnet in there that you can stick like one of our little Pins and Aces speakers to. So there's a magnet in the back of the speaker. There's a magnet in the handle. So you can just stick the speaker right to the handle. Pretty cool shit.
Damn, just all sorts of innovation. Check out pinsandaces.com. Use our promo code BDE. It'll save you 15% off any order. All right, let's tee it up. So you went to Stadium Links, played some golf. How's your week been? You're actually coming out to hang out. We're gonna be friends again after tomorrow. I have to pick you up
Mm-hmm.
from the airport, which I hate doing, but we'll do it. We'll do her. But how's your week been? How's the gig going? You know, are you're kind of getting into some places? It sounds like having some meetings, playing a little golf. What's the weather like there? Give me the scoop, bro.
Yeah, so I mean, life out here is pretty darn good. I can't complain. The weather is just starting to cool off. It was like 65 degrees yesterday. So I went and hit some golf balls. There's a local spot. They actually have top tracer on all the driving range spots. So it's like similar to like Family Sports back in Denver, except for it's got the top tracer at every bay, which is pretty awesome. So you can kind of practice. You pick a target, you pick a club, and then you just go. It's borderline like a little like Top Golf. So, but the one thing I will say that threw me for a loop the first time I went there, bucket of 40 balls is $10. And taking away the top tracer, I'm like, that is the most absurd thing I've ever heard in my life. Like paying $10 for a small bucket of balls. And it's just a principle thing. Obviously, it's not about the money. It's just like that's literally a quarter per range ball. I'm good at mental math here. So that's a quarter range ball. I just don't feel like I'm getting my money's worth when I hit 15 balls and I already want to quit. Like I'm already like how I just kind of get rid of the last ones, like hit some little wedge shots. I'm not really like grinding on it. I actually am working on my swing a little bit, but that's kind of pointless because it's end of the season, so it really doesn't matter. But I would say weather here has been pretty nice. I've been actually going to the gym, which has been awesome. I'll bring that up in my fairway or four because I have a theory about the gym. But for any of you that have gone to Lifetime Fitness, the Mocha Madness that they have there is like the most fucking gas thing. Oh God, I gotta sneeze. Oh, excuse me. The Mocha Madness is like the best thing that's ever graced my lips, or at least top three. So every time I go in there, I have to get a Mocha Madness when I leave. It's like my little reward for fucking working out,
It's
and it
like
pretty
a
much
reward.
yeah, and it just takes away all the calories that I burn. But you know, it's got protein in it and shit. So you know how your mind justifies shit. I buy an $11 smoothie after every workout. And
Oh, so you're fucking complaining about how much it costs per month, and now you're adding to. You're like, now you're gonna talk yourself into. I probably shouldn't go because I don't want to spend another $11 this fucking day on this fucking Mocha Madness. Do you get it with peanut
no,
butter at least?
no, I don't. I should add peanut butter.
It's
But
probably like an
hey,
extra $5.
yeah, it's a $17 smoothie at this point, which is just like, but that's the thing is I'm not good at just like having a lifetime membership and paying $230 a month. I gotta spend another $250 a month on fucking smoothies. Luckily, I will say I respect Lifetime. They don't have the little like flip around like tablets where they ask you to tip them, which I would actually tip them. I do tip normally on those things. I'm not against tipping, but I think we can all agree that you know the tipping culture's gotten a little out of hand. So they just make your fucking $11 smoothie. They don't ask you for a tip. They're super nice. Just the customer service I really respect. So I've been enjoying that. I've been hitting the sauna, the hitting the hot tub, and I swear to God, whatever time I go to the gym, it's like the most geriatric. I try to go in the middle of the day when it's slower, so there's not a bunch of people. But it is just all old dudes. Like it is, and old dudes in the locker room. You know how weird that shit gets. Like they just not a care in the world. Um,
They have
just
full. So just for you guys that ladies out there listening, or dudes that have never been in a locker room in a gym, uh, these guys like if you get to a certain age where you just don't give a fuck. And one time I watched two guys completely naked, like having a full on conversation and shaking hands. Like they shook hands when they left, and I was like, dude,
like
I
they're
don't know,
making a
like
business deal with their dicks out.
yeah, like I'm pretty comfortable with myself, but like I still kind of like shade my shit to the like corner when I'm like dropping my pants, you know? Like I'm not just gonna fucking have my thing flanging around the whole locker room. Like it's obviously not impressive, but it's also just a thing. Like they just don't care. And one time I was on the lower level, you know, I don't know if the same Lifetime, but they have the lower level lockers, like the higher level and the lower level. And bro, I was down tying my shoe and I felt this fucking thing right next to my head. And
You're
the
just
guys,
face to face with somebody's horn.
dude, the guy's fucking up in his locker, fucking jostling it around and trying to open it. And I like, my peripherals are trying. I'm like, I know this thing is like touching it's like my
You're like,
ear, like
oh,
my ear hair is long enough. It would have fucking hit it. And I was like, dude,
oh
is
my
this guy
God.
fucking for real? I was like, couldn't you wait 10 seconds till I was done tying my shoe? So from now on, I do not choose a lower level locker in any gym, and I do not bend over in any gym, no matter what.
Yeah.
I'm out. I'll tie my shoes on the fucking stair stepper before I tie my shoes in the locker room again. Absolutely not.
Yeah, there's definitely some questionable things that go on in a men's locker room, especially with older dudes involved, because they, like you said, they just don't give a fuck. And I'm honestly jealous. Like, I can't wait till I get to that point where I just don't care and walk around without a fucking care in the world. But yeah, other than that, man, I haven't played much golf. I've got another few meetings set up in the next few weeks when I get back here from Colorado. Just grinding away, getting pins and aces out to the Northeast here. So, you know, it's been a bit of a challenge, obviously, not knowing very many people here and also being a new product. So just reaching out to as many people as I can in the golf industry, trying to get our name out there and get some pins and aces gear on the shelves. So I would say I'm doing pretty well, honestly. You know, it's one of those things, and I've never been quote unquote in sales before, so it's still relatively new. But if you listen to this podcast, you know I could fucking talk to a brick wall. So I can talk to anybody. I just need to kind of get my foot in the door, get an email back, and or get a phone call, and I can just talk as as long as the day is. So I don't necessarily have a problem there, but it's been a fun experience. I really do enjoy it, and it gives me kind of that freedom, and that I've being a golf pro, it's so much different, and that's where I think all golf pros are like low key jealous of like dudes in the sales game, because there's obviously pros and cons, but at the end of the day, I don't have to be in a pro shop 40 plus hours a week, which is, just a huge relief. I can come and go as I please, relatively speaking. I get my work done, and but I can do it from anywhere, which is huge. So it's been an awesome gig. I'm just looking forward to, keeping the wheels moving. And I think in the sales realm, it's kind of like the snowball effect of gaining the first few customers are the hardest, and then it kind of gets easier as you keep going. So I'm just keeping my head down and grinding away, and I'm looking forward to going to the Avs game with you on Saturday. That's gonna be a good time.
Yeah, I haven't been in person to an Avs game this year, so think we're gonna get a little tuned up, I would
Oh yeah,
imagine.
as long as you
Considering
don't puke in my fucking car door again. My God.
I will attempt to not puke in your car door or anyone's car door, because we're probably gonna be taking an Uber or Lyft to that game for sure.
Yeah.
So maybe not puking in the Lyft's door, it would be ideal. But dude, I'm old now. Like I kind of like taper off
Shut up.
after
You're
3 or
you're
4.
29 years old, bro. Grow up.
Dude, in the last week, I sold my Nuggets tickets tonight because I just like didn't want to go at 8 o'clock, and
To
they're
the
playing the
Warriors?
Warriors. Yeah. Well, dealing with a child at every game is just not it. It's just not as fun. It's cool to like experience that, but like you're on pins and needles the entire game. Like last Nuggets game, I looked up and they were down 15. I was like, well, shit, I've been fucking wiping shit for the last 10 minutes, and so are the Nuggets apparently. And then we left at the end, like middle of the fourth quarter, when they kind of got a lead and whatnot. But it's just it's not as relaxing and fun as you would anticipate it being, not bringing a kid. So like tonight, sold my tickets, but I also like leaf blew my
Blew
entire lawn.
blew the leaves, I think
I
is the proper term.
Is there a past tense of I guess that's yeah, blew. I was blowing some leaves at my house, and that's how I knew. I was like, dude, it was like 8:30 in the morning, and I'm out there with a fucking leaf blower just it was pretty lit though. I actually like really enjoyed it. But the frustrating thing is that we're still in kind of leaf season a little bit. So I got home from work and most of my work, my perfectionist work, was fucking ruined. I was
Yeah.
annoyed. Like the street already had leaves on it again, and I still have some piles in my yard because our fucking trash is like, they have these what they call big trash days, and big trash days they'll take anything basically, but they only take like 6 bags of in addition to your trash cans. And so I only filled up 6 bags full of leaves. Well, considering the 2 massive trees in my front yard, I have probably another 6 to 10 to go at least. So I only got like the driveway and like one corner of my yard is like really clean, and then the rest of it's
Well,
kind of just piling up.
why don't you burn some of them in your fireplace out back?
I probably should do that, but that
Dude,
would
you just
take.
take like a Saturday afternoon or and it's an excuse to just go out and burn leaves, like, and sit out by the fire.
Yeah, that's true. But I just haven't been in the fire game lately. I brought my fire pit to our tailgate, our Broncos tailgate, which was pretty fucking awesome. Because it was colder than shit for that Packers
Pretty su
game.
is that, like, legal? Do they allow fires at tailgates?
Yeah, we had multiple fires going actually. We
That
had
is
multiple.
pretty gas then to have, like, a mobile fire pit that you can just
Yeah,
fucking
I love solo stove. When I first bought it, I was like, "Fuck, that's expensive," but now worth every penny for sure. But yeah, we had multiple fires going. I'm a big fire guy normally. Just haven't been as into it as of late. I don't know what it is. It's dark at
Okay.
5 p.m. now, so I maybe should fucking get back into the fire game. But it's just sometimes it's just more work than it seems.
Yeah, I've found out that you're generally when it comes to, like, shit around the house, you don't, like, enjoy putting in the effort.
No,
You would rather
I have to have like free time in order to do that.
but you never allow yourself to have free time. You're always fucking occupying your time with something, so,
Well, yeah,
I
I
mean,
like
I
to,
get it. You're busier now, you got a kid and shit, but you could make more time and you just don't, so,
well, all
I don't
right,
wanna
well,
hear it.
while we're talking about fucking
Well, wait, can I tell my stadium links?
Well, that's what I was
Sit
just gonna get to. I was gonna
Oh,
say,
okay.
let's hear about the stadium links. Let's hear about the drive from how far is the drive from where you are to City Field, and like what City Field is like,
So the
or the
drive is
area
about
around it, I should say.
Yeah, so the drive is about 35 miles, relatively not that bad. I think, when I was living out in Elizabeth, the drive to Ball Arena was pretty close to that, about maybe less, maybe a little bit longer, I'm sorry, maybe like between 40 and 45, whatever. Um, but it took almost 2 hours to get from Morristown to Citi Field, and it was funny because Missy, my girlfriend, was like, you can drive there and I'll drive back, whatever." And then right when we got on the highway, within like 15 minutes, she goes, "I feel so bad. Like I should have drove. There's so much traffic." She goes, "It's such a fucking nightmare if you've never done it before." And like the road system back here is just a fucking joke. There's all these exits shooting all over the place. Nothing makes any sense. And yeah, it took us 2 hours to go 35 miles. So we sat in like stop and go traffic for about over an hour. Our tea time. So the way they work it, they make tea times until like 8 or till 10 o'clock. I'm sorry. I don't know what time they close down. They make like a makeshift clubhouse. And I don't know how it was for you because you've done it at Coors Field, but on the club level, they make like a makeshift clubhouse. So they've got a bar set up where you can get drinks. They've got like a little warm up area where you can hit into some fucking fences. What do you call it? Nets?
Oh, they
Good
have like a
lord.
warm up area.
They had like 4 spots to warm up if you did want to hit a few balls beforehand.
Oh, they just threw us straight out there. I just fucking had to hit wedges cold off the street.
Yeah, I mean, I did not warm up because we left like 2 hours and 15 minutes before, thinking it was going to take us about an hour 15 to get there. It took us 2 hours. So we showed up 5 minutes before our quote unquote tee time and kind of just ran over to the first tee. But it was very, very cool. City Field itself actually kind of sits out in the middle of like a lot of parking lots. There's a huge area around it. There's really not much. It's kind of in a neighborhood, quote unquote. It's out by LaGuardia Airport, so pretty close to that. But actually, they just came out with news that who is it? Pete Cohen, is he the one who owns the Mets?
I think so. I think that sounds right.
Steve Cohen.
Somebody
Steve
Cohen.
Steve
Mr.
Cohen. Yeah, he's a venture capitalist, multi-billionaire, crazy rich dude. He's kind of
You want to know
building.
something funny really quick? I don't know
Yeah,
what a
let's hear it.
venture capitalist means. Like, what does that mean?
It basically means you have all this money and you invest it into other company. You buy companies, you acquire them, or you invest in companies, you build up the worth, and then you sell them, or
Okay.
you hold on to them and you take the profit and roll that over into more investments.
Oh, fuck. So
It's
I
basically
always just,
investing at a large scale.
okay. So I always associated it with being rich, which is correct. But
Correct.
that's what they do. It's just they're not like I mean, I guess somebody that owned like Jeff Bezos could be a venture capitalist, but he made his money from Amazon. So he's not necessarily like buying, he probably is buying other companies and doing other things like that. But these are people that just consistently buy and sell random businesses that they feel like they can make money off of.
Yeah, exactly. And like venture capitalist firms, the jobs of the people, the lower people are to go out and find companies that they think are undervalued and they think have relatively like room for growth, higher earning potential. They go in and acquire the business or, buy the majority, uh, build build it up into a bigger business, get revenue going higher, blah, blah, blah. And then they get the evaluation they want on it or the valuation, and then they sell it and make money. So yeah, it's basically a fancy word for an investor, but I don't really know how it works. Like strictly because you start with a certain amount of money. Like you raise money, you're basically investing other people's money, and then you're taking a part of their return. So some people start, and I'm sorry, I'm going off on a tangent here, but this kind of shit really interests me. Some people get into like commercial real estate. Some people get into businesses. Some people buy hospitals. Some people buy. I mean, it's so crazy the amount of shit you can invest in. So, and some people just kind of not play the stock market, but they're investors, wealth management, whatever. So, but yeah, he's made like billions and billions of dollars. He started his own venture capitalist firm, and then you raise a certain amount of money. And then, the idea is to 2, 3, 4x it, and then take that money and then multiply it and blah, blah, blah. And then you have billions and billions. So he's one of the richest dudes, I think, in baseball ownership. Do you want to, Spencer, look up how much he's worth real quick? Because I bet it's somewhere on like the 15 to $20 billion range. Like he's
$19.8 billion.
okay. So yeah, he's not hurting for dough by any means. But he's actually building another quote unquote Jerry World style setup around City Field. So I think he's getting the last gambling license available in New Jersey. He's building a casino. He's building hotels. He's building restaurants. Which I mean, if you're a business owner, is a smart thing to do. Like you have a bunch of parking lots sitting here when in reality you build a bunch of buildings, you put parking garages in those buildings, so you're still getting the parking, but then you've got casinos, you've got restaurants, you've got hotels. Because there's really like not very many places to stay right by City Field and all that. So it kind of gives it that element of being somewhat of a destination. But overall, the stadium was pretty darn cool. We did so it's 9 holes, technically 9 different tee boxes. You get 2 balls per tee box. So there was like 3 on the lower level, 3 on the club level, and 3 on the upper deck. So you aim at different targets. They tell you what the yardage is before and after they after the slope, so they kind of give you what it's playing. I actually think I hit a few like 50 yards too far into the bullpen on accident because I had the right club, but it was playing so far down that I was just fucking flying them over into the right field. Like I was hitting fucking dingers out there. So I actually striped it. I hit quite a few really good shots. But overall, we spent about 3 hours in the car and about an hour and a half on the golf course, quote unquote. So it was a great time. I really enjoyed it. If you get the chance, I would recommend doing it. Getting there is a different story, but it is a very, very fun time. And there's something about seeing a stadium because you usually go to stadiums when it's packed. And then when you see a stadium like empty, it has like a different feel. It's almost a little creepy, but at the same time, it's really cool. Like you feel like you can explore more of it. You can see, and there's just not, you don't have that anxiety where you're surrounded by thousands of people.
Yeah, was it not very busy? I know there's like, because the one here, like it was so busy that even like ordering a drink at the club level, clubhouse ish thing before took forever. There was lines, and then when you go to each hole, there's lines, and they're like kind of fucking herding people to certain bays and shit. Like it's kind of insane how busy it was at Coors Field. Now that was like I think it was like a fundraiser or like a charity thing. The one they did at Coors Field, it wasn't called Stadium Links. It was different.
Okay.
So because there was, I think you only had 6 holes, correct?
9 holes. I just
9.
said that.
Well, I thought you were saying 2, 2, and 2, but it's 3, 3, and 3.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, and then you could buy like extra balls, or they're not like it's one of those things where going into it you have no clue what to expect, and then afterwards you're like, oh, okay, now I know what's gonna happen essentially. But City Field in general, just being what it is, like, and them building around it, like I think that's the future of baseball stadiums and just stadiums in general. Like we've heard that they're going to do that kind of around the Broncos stadium and Power Field. So I think that's one of those things that they're just going to start to do. And like by the time like my kid is old enough, like there's just going to be a bunch of fucking random stadiums that they're all like their own world. Like when we went to Jerry World, that's kind of how it was. Like Jerry World and the Ranger Stadium were like in their own little apocalyptic world by itself.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, even the Rockies somewhat did that with McGregor Square having a hotel and the restaurants, even though, it's in the city surrounded by other restaurants and all that. But then the Cronkies are doing that too with Ball Arena. They're taking all those parking lots, they're building them up into condos, and I'm sure there's going to be plenty of cool restaurants and all this. And we can be like those old fuddy duddies that'll be like, I remember when there was only Brooklyn's right there and you had to, that was your only bar you could go to before the game unless you want to walk all the way into the city. Because there's going to be so many fucking restaurants and bars over there by the time we're like 50 years old, which will be fire. I'm all for it. So, but yeah, the stadium itself was pretty cool. Like you said, there was a few lines. Especially on the hole where you got on the Jumbotron, because that's the tough thing is, and it's kind of like running a tee time, running a tee sheet a little bit. Like, and I thought to myself that old quote from when we ran a golf course, like tee sheet runs itself. You just send people off and they kind of just figure it out and do their thing because they didn't have a strict like 2 shots per hole. Like technically you had 18 balls, you could hit them all on the first hole, and nobody did that, but you could hit any amount of balls per hole that you wanted basically, or you could go all the way to the 9th hole and hit every single ball. So you could hit as many balls as you wanted. And on like the 6th or 7th hole, they had cameras on you, so you were up on the Jumbotron, like that tee box is on the Jumbotron, so a lot of people were just like enamored with looking at themselves in the Jumbotron and hitting shots. And
That would have been me for sure.
yeah. Oh, dude. And I got to tell you, so this one dude, and you can just tell, like, there is no bounds on the golf hardo. Like the dude that's like our age, that's in like finance or whatever, and just got into golf like 2 years ago, and he's got like the half calves and like the golf shoes and the quarter zip on, and like I'm like, dude, this is fucking stadium links. Like, and he's like carrying around his own sticks. He's just taking it way too serious. Like, and I'm not one to judge, but maybe a little bit. So this dude,
Oh, fucking bullshit. We're both ones to judge,
no,
especially in this world, in the golf world. Like
yeah,
we can judge someone within fucking 10 seconds of,
yeah,
what they're
I
going
can
to
read
say
you
when
like
they
a
hit a
book.
bad shot, what they're going to, what they're going to shoot. It's like, it's pretty straightforward in this
Yeah,
world.
yeah. So I would agree with you. I can pretty much read any golfer like a book within like 10 seconds of seeing him. Um, But this dude, he gets up to like one of the tee boxes on the upper deck, and his buddy's like videoing him and shit. And he just fucking hosel rockets one. The ball goes like shooting back. Everybody's like hitting the deck. It was so fucking funny. And he's just so embarrassed. I was dying. Like in my head, I didn't want to laugh out loud. I didn't want to be a total asshole. But I just like looked over. I was like, Jesus, dude, fucking take it a little less serious, please. Don't ruin this shit for yourself. Like it was, and then actually Missy shanked one too, which was awesome. It almost hit me because I was standing almost directly behind her. So I was cracking up. I posted that video on Twitter. But yeah, she was thoroughly embarrassed about that. So I didn't shank any. You can kind of clip the side. And it is a little nerve wracking when you're on the upper deck. There is seats like below you, but Missy is so paranoid about that shit. She like could not. She already has a tough time like getting onto her lead foot, like under her left foot to swing through the shot. She was just hanging back so far on her right foot, like just arm swinging that shit the whole time. Like she's like, well, you want to see me fall off and die? I'm like, you're gonna fall 5 feet in front of you to like into a row of seats. Like you're not, and no, you're not gonna fall anyway. Like it's just an irrational thought. So, but yeah, other than that, I thought it was a really good time. I only got one drink, and the bartender was just like not paying attention at all. That they do staff the whole place, which is kind of shocking. Like they have people making sure you're not running off and doing shit that you shouldn't be doing in the stadium. But it was just a very cool event. Like I getting the chance to hit different shots in a baseball stadium. And the other crazy thing too is like I'm sure you went through the same thing, but when you see a dude hit a home run, you're like, holy shit, they hit that so far. And then you work it back to like yards, and you're like, I hit a pitching wedge that far. I hit a gap wedge that far. Like it just doesn't equate in your brain. There's some disconnect there where it seems like the baseball goes so much further than 100 and, in 130 yards, that's a 400-foot home run. So that's pretty fucking long. Like it's just crazy to me.
Yeah, it doesn't add up. I will say, going back to your point about hitting off of a higher level, that takes like actual practice from my personal standpoint. Like the first times we would go and practice at a good old Family Fun Center, it's a little 2-level range south of Denver here. But I was like scared to hit off the top level. I'm already scared of heights, so heights are not my thing. But like it does take some like actual time and practice to be able to hit shots off of a second level and feel like you're not going to fall over. So I'm with Missy on that one. And I remember at Coors Field, we were on the rooftop hitting a shot, and that shit was fucking. I was like actually like shaking in my boots a little bit to hit that one and drop it down.
Yeah. And drop it down.
Drop it low.
I will say the worst situation I've had with that is the first tee at Sanctuary. The back tee is, and that's legit like scary. That's not, there's nothing, if you fall forward, there's nothing to catch you. Like you're tumbling 300 feet down a rocky fucking hill and maybe bouncing your head off the cart path a few times in between. And I think there's definitely a different dynamic with swinging your driver versus swinging like a little baby wedge. Like I wasn't ripping any full shots. You're not swinging 5-iron, I would probably feel a little bit differently, but I was hitting like little chip 9-irons and pitching wedges. So I really didn't feel like uncomfortable. But when I was hitting driver off number one at Sanctuary, I remember thinking like I actually got dizzy, like looking down at the fairway. I think it's like a 300-foot drop. It's fucking bananas. So I do get it to a certain extent, but yeah, I would agree that's something you kind of got to practice a little bit in order to, feel comfortable with it. But they were definitely like not short on the golf douchebags that were like warming up, and they had like a chipping and putting mat, and these dudes, and I almost like am jealous in a way because I was like that when I was like 15, where I was just so excited to like go play golf, and I'm like, now I just look at them, I'm like, you a fucking child? Like, you that excited to play golf? Like, you don't have anything, do you not drink and gamble? Like, what is this what you do for fun? So it's just kind of I'm past that point in my life where and I know Serbo's listening to this, he'll be able to relate, because when we were younger, we always tried to get him out on the golf course, and he was always like, no, fuck that. Like, it's got to be perfect. It's got to be, the weather. And I guess the older I get, the more I get it, because unless you're really looking forward to going and playing golf, it's not that much fun. Like, you're like, what's the point in going out and shooting 76 and fucking being angry with yourself
Or
when I could just,
86,
yeah.
90-ish.
Well,
Until you
yeah, it
stop
just
keeping score.
depends on what you're hoping for, but there's definitely like a mindset that you got to be in to go out and be like stoked to play golf. For me, at this point, where I get the itch once every like 2-3 weeks. That's about how often I think. And that's the other thing. We'll get into the Costco thing, but buying a membership, I think, would definitely encourage me to play more golf. So we'll see if that's coming down the pipeline at some point, if it's in Denver, if it's here, here's another thing I learned, Spencer. Did you know they do like out of state memberships, and they're
Really?
generally like cheaper? So I could maybe see if I could get something like that at your spot down at Inverness.
Yeah. Were we talking about Thousand Greens? Were you playing golf with me when we were talking about that with people?
Well, we
With
were
that dude?
talking to Lou Stagner about it.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, that's what it was. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
so
mean,
you
that sounds like the coolest thing ever, but you just got to get in somewhere. Once I'm in, like Flynn at Inverness, then it's fucking, I'm still on the wait list. But I actually got excited the other day because I got an email from like their email list that was like saying something about their holiday dinner, and I was like, oh fuck, did I make it in? And then I hadn't, so I wasn't as excited.
Oh shit. Well, dude, it will be a lot of fun when you're a member at a country club. You will fully complete your arc as a dad, just a golf douchebag dad uh he thinks his son is better than he is at golf and all that. So
I think he's
that'll
better
be
than
you. And
my son's better than everyone at
I would
everything.
actually, me being the biased uncle, I would probably agree. Like, I'm not gonna shit on you for that, because I think Sawyer's shit doesn't stink, other than his literal shit, which definitely
I was gonna
stinks.
say it does, dude. We've graduated to a full on fucking porta potty with that kid. It's fucking. And I already have a weak stomach, dude. I'll be there at like 4 a.m. Oh fuck! Like it's dark. I can't see. I just fucking catch a whiff and I'm out. It's
You
fucking
fucking
over.
crack the window right above his changing table and just fucking yuck it right out the window.
Yeah, I've been close to doing that multiple times.
No,
100%.
I mean, I can confirm I've changed one of his poopy diapers, and uh that is the only diaper I've ever changed in my life. So it was a new experience. I can say I've done it, but I can't say I enjoyed it, because
No.
like, when you blow shit up your own back, that's when you know it's coming out with like some sort of velocity. And then you just look at Sawyer's face, and he's just like cracking up and like so happy. And you just can't hate him for it. Like, he's like a little Sour Patch Kid at this point. He pisses you off, but then you look at him and you just can't be angry at him. I'm sure you've dealt with him enough to where you can get angry at him, but me being like the fun uncle and only holding him for so long, that's how I feel about him.
Yeah, he does get pretty volatile in your own words, but overall he's been pretty good. He's
Yeah, the
actually
one time I babysat him, Spencer goes, "How's Sawyer doing?" I'm like, "He's a little volatile," and Spencer loved that. I mean,
greatest term for child ever, because that's exactly every day. My life is just one big ball of volatile right now. All right, let's get into the Worldwide Technology Championship. But before we do that, we want to tell you guys about our friends over at Burrito Express. When we go down to Tempe, we go down to Phoenix a lot. We actually have a kind of a deal in place. I don't know how much I could talk about it, but with like Putt World, I probably fucked the name up, to be honest, but there's like a huge putting center essentially that's like a bar down in the Phoenix area that we're going to do a watch party at and be able to like play some games and stuff. So we're going to go down to the Phoenix area. And, you know, you talked about getting excited for golf, like where we are in 2, you know, snowy states in the winter. That'll get me up. Like that'll get my stinger up, is going down to Arizona and playing golf. And every time we go down to Arizona and play golf, we stop by our favorite burrito place at Burrito Express, the Tempe location, right by Arizona State. Such a great spot to get burritos. Steak and egg is my favorite burrito, especially for breakfast. And they have potatoes in it. We take the cheese out. I'm not a big cheese guy, but steak and egg breakfast burrito with potatoes is by far the best. And I also want to tell you guys about our friends over at Breckenridge Distillery. I've got us a bottle of fresh Breck Distillery bourbon for when you get here. Those and the limoncello dandies will be plenty once you arrive back in the state. The bar is stocked, but Breck Distillery is by far the best bourbon. It's the only bourbon that I drink. I got a little smoking kit as a bachelor party wedding gift from my friend Sam, so we can like put the little piece of wood on top of the jar, or on top of the fucking cup. The glass, yeah, the glass. I just thought, like, in my mind, I had a fucking setback in my mind because our aunt is one of the sweetest ladies ever, but she buys us all this like Hallmark shit, and she bought me a fucking whiskey glass that says Daddy's sippy cup, and I just fucking hate Daddy. I hate when anyone calls me that. Our mom does it every time to my kid, and I'm like, no, just like drop the DY, like just Dad is fine. Like I don't need this. But yeah, I just can't like drink out of Daddy's sippy cup. Like I just not my thing. That shit went right back into the cabinet and is gone.
I think
shout out to
if
my
you
aunt
get older, you'll enjoy it. I think you'll by the time you're 50, you'll be like, yeah, Daddy's sippy cup. Daddy needs some of that fucking brown water.
Daddy needs some Breck Distillery bourbon, the best bourbon in the world, the highest distillery in the world. And if you're in the Colorado area and you make it up to Breckenridge, they've got a great spot up there. So make sure to check it out. You can get it in all 50 states. Even though it is a Colorado-made product, you can get Breck Distillery all 50 states, www.breckenridgedistillery.com. And check it out. I mean, it's the best bourbon in the world. I will confidently say that. We do some reads and things where we don't have a lot of personal experience, but I can tell you there's about 5 things in the world I got a lot of personal experience with, and whiskey and drinking is one of them. So check out Breck Distillery. It's the best bourbon in the world. Getting to the Worldwide Technology Championship.
Prestige
awesome.
Worldwide.
Prestige Worldwide. No, the Worldwide Technology Championship down in Los Cabos. Great event, kind of a throwback event. You look at the leaderboard on Sunday, you're like, Camilo Villegas? Matt Kuchar? What the fuck is going on here?
Do you really say Camilo Villegas?
Yeah.
I feel like we need Marissa. Marissa, are you set up on a mic over there? Can you dial in?
I am.
How would
dial in? Phone in.
Fucking phone in. If you have a last name Villegas, how would you pronounce that?
Oh God.
You don't know Spanish?
No.
Are you?
Am I profiling you here?
You're totally profiling me. I don't know.
I thought you would.
Spanish.
I at least know that Spencer and I only took German in high school, so we don't know Spanish for fuck. So I figured you'd have a better shot than us.
Here's the best thing. My Spanish teacher said I'm dyslexic in my native language.
Okay.
I don't know any Spanish.
Okay, so that doesn't help us.
Villegas.
Can you at least tell me what Los Cabos means? What does Los mean?
The
Cabos? What does Cabos mean?
Let me see.
Wow, this is getting completely off the rails. Like,
I'm just curious because you called it. What is it?
Ropes.
The ropes. That's kind of cool.
That's way cooler than saying going to Cabo. I'm gonna say I'm going to the fucking ropes.
I'm going to the ropes. That it kind of sounds a little sketchy at the same time though. Like, you know, in boxing when you're on the ropes, it's not a good thing. Like,
oh, I was thinking a rope like a hang yourself rope.
Whoa, that's
that's like the rope I thought of. I probably shouldn't have said that, but
Yeah, I mean, we may have to clip that, but I know that
leave that out.
I know
It's
that
live.
I
Oh,
know
it's
that the
live. That's good.
cartel the cartel has done that to some tourists down there, so that's
Okay.
maybe we're
All right,
we're going.
off the ropes, back on the rails.
Yeah, let's get on the rails here.
Erik van Rooyen, South African. He has a great rope on his face for a fucking mustache. I'll tell you that.
I was
That
gonna
thing-
say he's probably just got a big rope somewhere else too, but that's besides, let's keep going.
he's so he was plus 1600 to win the tournament with 2 holes left. There's a little like profile of he was down 2 shots or 3 holes left, excuse me, to Matt Kuchar. Ended up shooting 28 on the last 9 holes of the tournament and a final round 63 to win by 2, and he eagled the last hole. And it was a super emotional win for him because he's got so his roommate and like basically best friend from college. He was coming from South Africa. He went to the University of Minnesota Golden Gophers, and his roommate Jon Trasamar was like his host family basically. And they were with him. They met him at the airport when he flew in to attend Minnesota. He was a roommate of his for 3 of the 4 years of college. And unfortunately, he's only got like 6 to 10 weeks to live. He's got cancer. So that's an unfortunate thing. But Erik van Rooyen got interviewed after the event and was pretty emotional. And it's kind of cool to see. So we're going to play that. And when you take out, like he says in here, it's a silly game playing for a silly trophy, but there's more to this win than just the 72 holes of golf from Erik van Rooyen. Let's play that interview.
Were you able to be so calm when the stakes were the highest?
Sorry. I was calm because there's bigger stuff in life than golf. If you look at my ball, we've got, there's a little music note. It's a little faded now, but there's a little music notes on there and initials JT, and it's for Jon Trasamar, our best friend, who's got melanoma and he's not going to make it. And every shot out there today was for him. And when you're playing for something bigger than winning some silly trophy, it puts things in perspective. And at the end of the day, whether I won here or whether I lost here, it really did not matter. So yeah, when something motivates you like that, whether you make a pot or miss the putt, who cares?
You two guys were college teammates. You mentioned Jon was one of your teammates at Minnesota. How did you channel that emotion and not let it drag you down and have this beautiful result?
It dragged me down. After Friday's round, I shot, what did we shoot Friday? 8 under? 8 under on Friday. And I get to my hotel room and I just break down in tears, So it wasn't that calm all the time, but when I step onto the golf course, I've got a freaking job to do. And that's what it comes down to at the end of the day, do your job. And now we can celebrate and cry and do whatever you want. But until that last putt drops, it's focus and it's do it for Trazzy.
If Jon's watching right now, is there anything you want to say to him and his family and your Golden Gopher family?
Just we love him so much. And I'm still sort of in disbelief what he's going through, and I wish I could take all his pain away, but we're flying up to Minnesota tomorrow to go and see him on Tuesday morning. I'll give him a high five then.
Guys, congratulations.
Thank you. Cheers.
So super emotional from Erik van Rooyen, but awesome to see him take home a dub, especially when he's dealing with that on his mind. Like your best friend's not in a good place and it, and then you have to go out and play a golf tournament, but he ends up winning, which, nothing can make that feel better, but that'll help a little bit. On a lighter note, let's talk a little bit about his mustache and the absolute beauty that he's got on his upper lip before he won this golf event. So what are some of your favorite terms for mustaches? I've got a few here that I've heard, but I need to know if you've got anything different, anything exciting that you've ever heard. You as you can see, if you guys are watching on the YouTube, Mitchell shaved a mustache. I considered doing it for this pod, but I look like a 12-year-old. I look like my 4-month-old kid when I shave my lower chin. So that will never happen again. I'll have to lose my hair for that to happen again. But Mitchell went to the full mustache, but he kind of butchered, literally and figuratively, one of the sides, and it's a little shorter than the other. But I don't know. Did you clean that up?
I've fixed it since then. That was on my way to the gym yesterday. I looked at the rearview mirror and I was like, holy shit, my face looks more lopsided than it usually does. Like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I had one line like right outside of my cheek, and then the other, or right outside of the edge of my mouth, and then the other one was like down here about to connect. I was like, good God, I look like a fucking hillbilly. And trimming my mustache is just always an adventure. There's not an exact science. That maybe if I was super rich, I would just pay somebody to just handle, like, give me a weekly haircut and just trim my beard whenever I want it, like just on hand. Cause I fuck it up all the time. Sometimes I do it after I've been drinking, which is even worse. But for creative, I mean, there's plenty of names that, I don't know if we want to say on the pod or not. Like, we really have fucking boundaries here. A flavor saver is a good one, because I have been known to get a crumb or two in my mustache/beard, and I just eat like an animal, like I'm like a feral hog basically. So food just flies all over my face, and hopefully I catch some of it in my mustache. A caterpillar on your lip, I guess, is another one. Like, let's hear what you got, because I'm not that for a lot of things I'm creative with. A mustache is not one of them.
Well, yeah. So my mustache is like I occasionally forget to trim it, and so it'll be longer than the rest of the hairs on my beard, which you really can't tell. But like, I can start like, getting it in my mouth, and that's never fun. Flavor saver is a good one, pretty standard, pretty easy across the board. Lip foliage is pretty comical. Cookie duster was one that I read out loud, and I like actually laughed out loud, because there's nothing better than just clean fun, and cookie duster is a clean fun one.
Lip sweater. I like a lip sweater.
Good lip sweater. Womb broom, that's a good one.
Jesus Christ.
And also, just a good old fashioned seat or a saddle. That's I think that's the A1 nickname, but that's NSFW scenario for a mustache.
Free mustache rides. Any old dude that wears that t-shirt just blows me away. Like, but it's like, you just have to respect it. It takes a lot of balls.
Yeah, and I love that, like, a guy that looks like Erik van Rooyen just won like millions of dollars, won a trophy, and just rocking the full on stash. I'm proud of him. Great win for him and his family and his friend. For his friend to see him win again, and then he's going up to visit him. Awesome stuff. One crazy stat from this week that I didn't think was possible, but there was a 7-shot swing on Saturday in 2 holes. And that was one of the most unbelievable things I think I had ever seen. So if you weren't watching or didn't hear about it, on 15 and 16 on Saturday afternoon, Camilo Villegas made he made a birdie and an eagle back-to-back holes, and Matt Kuchar made a quad on the same hole. So he made up a 7-shot difference in 2 holes, and I personally don't think I've ever seen anything like that in a golf event.
No, that's absolutely insane to even think that that's possible. If you're Matt Kuchar, the karma's probably coming back. He's probably planning on paying his caddy like $100 for the week. Probably hired somebody local down there to get on his bag. He's gonna pay him, a fucking handful of peanuts to caddy for him. So I feel like there's a little karma coming his way. Do you even get that reference, Spencer? Does that ring a bell?
No.
You don't remember when he won the the Puerto Rico Open and he hired a local caddy and paid him like $5,000?
No, I don't remember that.
What? This is like I think it was during COVID. They made an agreement before the week. I think Kuchar made like 1.2 million, and he hired a local caddy and paid him $5,000 for the week.
Damn.
And even though he won, I mean, that was the quote unquote agreement they had before the week, but he won the fucking golf tournament with dude on his bag, didn't give him any extra. So that's Kuchar's like the sneaky, like Shooter McGavin, like kicking dogs behind closed doors and shit. Like, I don't want to make any accusations, but he low key seems like kind of a shitty dude. And especially if you like look at him without a hat, he's got like one little tuft of hair in the front of his head, and it just kind of gives it that like bad vibe of like just being a mean, like white old rich guy. So I don't know. I'm not a huge like Kuchar guy. Anywho, yeah, I was actually very happy for Camilo Villegas. I say Villegas, you say Villegas.
Villegas. It's probably correct. You're probably correct.
Tomato, whatever. But the funny thing is I think his odds before the week started were like plus 50,000 to win the event, which he obviously did not end up winning the event. But even at top 10, I bet he was fucking plus 2,000-3,000 at least. So I looked at his number and I was like, God, that's kind of interesting, because he's just one of those older dudes that pops up, you know, a week or two out of every year, kind of competes. And then you also wonder, like, how does he even have, what exemption is he on? Like, he hasn't won shit the last decade, and he's somehow still getting into PGA Tour events.
Didn't he get like, I thought he got like top 3 like a year and a half ago. Because I remember he was one of my favorite golfers growing up. And then he obviously fell off the map and kind of revived his career in a few events. It may have been in Mexico like 1 or 2 years ago. I know he was in contention, just much like this week, and then was able to secure top 3, which I don't know how long that takes you. And I'm sure he's won some events, so I'm sure he's got some lifelong exemptions into certain events. The one thing I want to talk about too about this event is Adam Long, with a 31-year tour record broken, he hit every single fairway in this tournament. And
56 of 56, correct?
All I can think is, how the fuck bad are you at irons and wedges and putting if you hit 56 fairways and you got T23? What are you doing?
Yeah, you got to be having an off ball striking week or a rough week on the greens. Can you pull up real quick? Because the only thing, look up his driving distance. Because if he's, you know, fucking dinking it out there 230, then sure, you can hit every fairway. But I don't think Adam Long's a short player, though. So that makes it even, you know, that much more surprising. I wonder if there's a quote on him from him this week, you know, about the state of his game otherwise, because for him to hit every single fairway and, like you said, barely squeak out a top 25 in like a opposite field event, a little rough.
Yeah, he said, quote, "It's something I'll be able to say forever, some sort of bragging rights or an interesting stat at a trivia night." All right, so I got a little, let's play a little game here. All right, let's see if you can guess so on the PGA Tour 2023 season, who leads the tour in driving accuracy and what is their percentage? I'll let you round to the nearest percent.
Is it an obscure name, or is
it's like a mid-level player? It's like a top 70, but not top 30, I would guess.
Oh God, dude, that's so Taylor Montgomery?
No, it's Russell Henley.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Russell Henley, and then percentage-wise,
he won the Wyndham this year, didn't he?
He won something. I've bet on him multiple times, and he just cucks me every time I bet on him. So
he just Adam 22s you. Yeah, he's not a very when you bet on him, he just doesn't seem to pull through. I remember he's another weird dude that's had like a 15-year PGA Tour career, and he'll just come out of fucking nowhere and look like a world beater all of a sudden. Like that's what he did, I think, this year at Sedgefield out in North Carolina. He just fucking beat the shit out of everybody out of nowhere, hasn't won in like 5 years. So, but if we're guessing percentages, I bet he hits 69% of fairways.
Pretty close. 71% of fairways.
Okay.
Right, what last trivia question? Tour average for finding the fairway in the 2023 PGA Tour season.
63%.
58.74%.
Holy
So that gives
shit.
you something to think about. If you're like, I never hit any fairways, which I am the exact same boat. I feel like I never hit any fairways. If I hit 6 on a 14 fairway golf course, that's basically hitting 8 of them. Hitting 8 of the 14 is a tour average, which is crazy to think about.
Okay, I don't really like want to toot my own horn because I feel like we should touch on it a little bit. But I feel like I would be somewhere in the 65 to 70% range. And it's simply because I just don't swing that hard. And there is, I will say, nowadays it's easier to hit fairways on the PGA Tour than it's ever been, because the way architecture is going with, most places are just like, let's take out all these trees, let's widen the fairways. Like, they basically want to make it like a bomb fest. They want to make it easier for these dudes who hit it longer and, are less accurate. Which, that's kind of the direction golf's going in. So I can't really, poo-poo it by any means. But me being like a shorter and straighter hitter, I bet I think I could be like top 25 in like driving accuracy on the PGA Tour. And I don't think that doesn't mean I'm a PGA Tour player by any means, but I would say driving wise, I could be up there in accuracy. Total driving, I would be in the shitter because I hit it shorter than probably 80 or 90, probably 90% of PGA Tour players. So yeah, that's how many you think you'd average about 55% or so?
No, I think I'd be in like the 45 to 50% range. I think that's a fair assessment of my game.
If they count other fairways, like if you blow on 2 fairways over, if they give that to you,
that ups my percent at least about 10, 100%.
Yeah, I think you'd be at 55. Let's get into the Kirkland. I want to discuss this Kirkland golf club action real quick.
Yeah, so if you haven't seen it, Kirkland Signature is releasing a driver that is going to be conforming to the USGA, so you're going to be able to play it. They said they're going to have it in stores fairly soon. They've got I already look down on people that play Kirkland Signature golf balls. I'm sorry, I just do. If you play the wedges, you're just like all in, and that's what the weird thing to me about Costco in general. I feel like it's a cult. I feel like Costco is a cult where, like, if you go to Costco and anybody talks shit about Costco, you feel the need to defend it. And I'm sorry, but I am a 29-year-old dude with 1 wife and 1 kid. I don't need like 42 sticks of butter every time I go to the store. Like, I don't, I get it. Like, if you're buying toilet paper or paper towels or something that, doesn't go bad or that you can use for a while. But overall, I don't get this culty love for Costco and Kirkland brand things in general.
See, so I actually learned a little bit more. There's this dude on Twitter named like Trung Pham. He's like an economist, I guess you'd call it, like knows a lot about the economy, where he's like big into like knowing about all these different franchises and all of this shit. So I was listening to a podcast the other day and heard him talking about Costco, and it kind of changed my perspective on Costco a little bit, because the dude who started it, so it's based out of Washington, I think is where it started, this Washington state up in the Northwest. So that there's a Kirkland, Washington. That's why it's called Kirkland brand. But they only have, they like the dude who started it only will mark up a product like 15% from cost. Like, they virtually make no money on their products. Like, they won't charge you any more than 15% more than what they pay for it. So their markup is crazy small. They only have like 4,500 SKUs in the entire store versus like Walmart has like 50,000 SKUs. So they carry a super low amount of products. They carry good quality shit. And so what they do, real quick, another thing before I get to the golf clubs, they sell like $10 billion a year just in clothes. Did you know that?
Well, I know Kirkland Signature hoodies are like a thing now. Like, that's what people wear is like a sweater.
Well,
and it's
even
like
more than
so
that, just like your
lame,
basic
it's cool.
tees. Yeah, it's like got its day in the sun now, like New Balance shoes back in the day, and now they're cool again and all that shit. But they do like $10 billion a year. in just clothes. So the cool thing about golf products and the other products that they make directly, Kirkland brand, they use like the same manufacturers that say like Titleist uses. So the Kirkland actually like performs like a Titleist. They say it's literally like a Pro V1 with Kirkland brand on it. But when Kirkland decides to go and make a product, like say a driver or, irons, wedges, this or that, they go to the manufacturer and they say, okay, well, we're going to give you our manufacturing because it's so, it's like a gift to these manufacturers because Costco does fucking crazy numbers sales wise. So they know that if they make a good product and, Costco signs with them and make a Kirkland brand of anything, that they're going to do crazy numbers on it. They're going to sell millions and millions of units. But Costco has a one like stipulation that you actually have to make, like, say a driver, for instance, say they go to Titleist manufacturing and they say, okay, we're going to make our Kirkland drivers out, like we're going to use you for our manufacturing. You have to make our driver in one aspect better than Titleist, like whether it's the weighting or the this or that. They actually do that with every single Kirkland product. They make sure their product is superior to the other products that manufacturer is making, which isn't that fucking insane?
Yeah, just the whole concept of it kind of blows my mind, to be honest.
And do you know where Costco makes all their money?
Hot dogs, the $1.50 hot dogs that they sell.
No, it's off their memberships, dude. And that is because it's basically like 100% margin. Like there's no cost, quote unquote, to buy a membership, or there's no working costs. There's no fucking what's the word I'm looking for here? There's no cost up front for Costco to sell a membership. So basically the only place they make their money is on memberships, and they always like put their customer first. So I thought basically, I guess Jeff Bezos, when he started Amazon, or not when he started Amazon, when he started Prime, he talked to this dude who started Costco and basically modeled Amazon Prime directly after, in line with Costco's like membership style. So pretty fucking smart, because once you quote unquote buy a membership, if you have a Costco membership, you're going to go there more often, obviously, than Safeway, Walmart, ShopRite, whatever your local brand is. So I just thought it was super interesting. And at the end of the day, like, I don't know what is there to talk shit about with Costco? Like what is there to hate on?
Yeah, I guess that's true. You kind of have talked me into the Costco way. So maybe I'm checking out the Kirkland Signature driver, other than my PXG, I just absolutely destroy. So I'm not going away from it, but might have to hit it and check it out.
I will say the irons look good, like the wedges, other than if they were to make a little bit more like clean logo. And that's the shitty part, is golfers are so vain about like how they look, and even just like you by the sounds of it. When they look in their bag, they want to see something that looks cool, no matter how it performs. Like if somebody made an ugly wedge that outperformed every other wedge on the market, if they kept it ugly, I bet it would not sell anywhere near as good as Callaway, Titleist, whatever, because they want a product that appeals to people. So it is kind of funny how it's just an ego thing. You're like, oh, it doesn't look cool, I don't want it. But overall, like, I know that Kirkland brand stuff is going to perform right in competition with all the top golf brands. So I definitely think, and My Golf Spy put out like a Twitter poll asking how much they think it's going to cost, because we all know now that a brand new driver costs $550, $600. So if Kirkland's dropping a driver that's USGA conforming, that performs, pretty close to, your Callaway or Titleist driver, and it costs, say, $250, I bet we're going to see millions of people playing these Kirkland drivers.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. I would not doubt it. All right, we are going to wrap up this pod with a little fairway or four. We have the votes are in from last week's or 2 weeks ago's fairway or four. Mine was Twilight Golf is better than morning golf, and I got 53% fairway. So people agreed with me, but barely. And then Mitchell's was 30 is an acceptable age to begin to go gray. Got also 53% fair or 53% for 47% fairway. So maybe the people think that you should be going grayer later.
Fuck that. I'm gonna go gray. I can't. This is my body. My choice.
All right, I'm going to start this week's Fairway or 4. It's kind of going to be a little bit more of a Family Feud type of answer, but I personally think 8 a.m. is the most acceptable time to like be awake. Like expect someone to be awake, or if you're doing something like leaf blowing in your yard, like past 8 a.m. is like the most acceptable time. Not 7, not 6, not 9, not 10. 8 a.m. is like that sweet spot of time where you can anticipate someone being awake.
Yeah, I would say like for noise purposes, you know, going on outside, like between, I feel like it varies a little bit when it's gets lighter earlier and, you know, other outside agencies there, but I would overall say 8 a.m. is probably like all year long is a good time. So I was actually going to ask you, is that when you felt like you could get your leaf blower out and not be like that asshole neighbor?
Yeah, I didn't wait. I waited till 8:30. I was originally thinking 9, but I was like 8 o'clock is just like when I text someone or message someone for work at 8 o'clock. I think that's like acceptable in my mind.
Yeah, well, and real quick, it's funny because you text me now at all hours of the fucking night, and on top of it with this 2-hour time change, like I'll text you back at like 7:30 in the morning here, and then I'm like, oh shit, it's 5:30, but you're awake anyways, so you're a psychopath. So, yeah, that time change still got me fucked up. I'm out here watching Avalanche games till 1 in the morning. It's a battle out here. But yes, I would agree. Fairway on that. 8 a.m. What would you say is like acceptable to like mow your lawn?
I'd
Like
say 9 a.m. 9 or
okay,
10.
but I'm sorry, but what about like in the evening? How late does
Oh.
that go?
Oh, you can if in the summer, if you're doing that at 7 or 8 p.m., that's completely fine.
Okay, that's fair. So my fairway or 4 this week, I touched on it earlier about going to the gym, going to the sauna, going to the steam room. Is going in the steam room a workout? I think going into if you sit in the steam room and sweat that shit out for like 30 minutes, which I think is like kind of the max on the allotted time you're supposed to be in there, then you'll turn into fucking SpongeBob and Sandy's like bowl, fucking dehydrated, just shriveled raisin. But
I think it's part of a workout, but I feel a little like I always track my workouts on my Apple Watch. But I like feel dirty if I like go into the sauna and I keep that shit rolling. Like I feel like I'm still getting the effects on my body, but I don't think that it's like, unless I'm actually like actively doing, I'm sometimes like push-up guy in the sauna, which is another,
oh God, you're the worst
topic. But my sauna at my gym is always so full that like I'm always just like squeezing cheeks in next to 2 fucking dudes that are like spread eagle. But no, I feel like a little grimy if I continue my workout my workout points, if you will, in the sauna. But I think it's like a good recovery thing, but I don't think it's like a workout personally.
Okay, well, so let me phrase it differently. If your wife would ask you, would you say going to the, like, if you just went to the gym to go to the sauna, would you say I went to the gym?
No, I'd say I went to the sauna. No, yeah,
I think that's like you know, I agree it's like part of the recovery, but it's not necessarily a workout, but I still think you're enriching yourself, you're bettering yourself for it somehow. Like if you're stupid hungover and you just go to the gym to sit in the sauna and like take a hot tub and then leave, I have no problem with saying like, yeah, I went to the gym.
I'm not against doing that exact thing that you said, like, but I always like toss in like a 10 or 15 minute elliptical, treadmill, something like that. Then I feel better about just the sauna hot tub scenario. But if I did just the sauna hot tub, I would not say I went to the gym. No. I'm for
okay. That I'll be interested to see how people vote on that, because I know there's some people that if you go to the gym, no matter what you do there, you went to the fucking gym.
That is a very Mitchell term. And on that term, we are going to end this week's episode of Big Drive Energy. Appreciate you all tuning in. If you're listening to this on a whatever platform you're listening to it on. Give us a rating. Give us a review if you're feeling so kind. Also, check us out on our YouTube, Big Drive Energy Golf on YouTube. We do these shows live every single week. You can see our faces. You can see my sick set. Mitchell's got a new mic that I shipped him, so we're moving up in the world here in this ALLCITY world, and Big Drive Energy is going to the moon. That is. I'm
gonna have some flags up next week.
Mitchell's gonna have some flags up next week.
Actually, I'll be in studio next week. We'll be together
next week's show. We'll be in studio together again. Until then, enjoy this weekend of golf. Enjoy this weekend of football, basketball, hockey, whatever you enjoy. Do it and enjoy the golf, especially the golf, because that's what we at Big Drive Energy here talk about. You know, we spent a lot of time today talking about golf. 100%. All right, that's it for us. Peace.
We all silly like the mayor.